There's a family account on TikTok, BrittiKitty, with over 16 million followers and more than 900 million likes, built almost entirely around two little girls growing up in front of a camera. At first glance, it looks like harmless mommy content as their mother films cute reactions, family moments, and the everyday chaos of raising two young daughters. But the longer you look at BrittiKitty, the more you start to feel that there's something deeply unsettling about this account. Because that massive audience of 16 million followers doesn't only include parents who enjoy other parents raising their kids. A disturbing part of the audience appears to be grown men who save these little girls' videos and leave comments no child should ever have attached to their name. And even after the warning signs became impossible to ignore, BrittiKitty only kept growing. And as we go through this story, you'll see that the comments were only the first red flag. Because the deeper you look at BrittiKitty, the less it feels like a family sharing memories, and the more it starts to look like a content machine built around two children who never had a say in how their life was portrayed to tens of millions of strangers online.
But you are giving them digital content that they can save onto their hard drives and share elsewhere, as we've talked about with the Ren and Jacqueline page.
But to understand how BrittiKitty became such a massive account, you first have to understand why people were drawn to it in the first place. If you've spent any time on TikTok over the past few years, chances are you've come across Violet Christiana. Lily became one of the most recognized child TikTok stars because her videos had the exact kind of innocence and unpredictability the internet loves. She had funny reactions and her extraordinary hobbies and interests.
Happy birthday! Lily,
What?
why do you always have a butterfly on your nose?
I don't know. I guess they like me. This is baby. That's a mama. That's a baby.
Parents could watch her and see the same curiosity they saw in their own kids. Lily's story, however, begins with her mother, Violet Christiana. Brittany was born in 1988 and had always had a habit of documenting her own life long before TikTok became the center of her life. She began posting on Instagram in 2011, sharing pieces of her own life the way millions of people do every day. But after Brittany married Mikey Christiana and started building a quieter life with him, her own online presence slowed down. But that changed dramatically when they welcomed their first daughter, Lily, on January 27, 2019. So Lily is the first child of Brittany and Mikey Christiana. Since Brittany had always been comfortable living parts of her life online, when Lily came along, the camera naturally turned toward her. Every cute reaction and every new experience became something Brittany could capture. Around the same time, TikTok was going mainstream, turning ordinary people into viral stars almost overnight. So in August 2019, Brittany created the BrittiKitty account and began posting Lily's life online. At the time, Lily was 6 months old. This kind of content is often called sharenting, where parents post photos, videos, and personal details about their children before those children are old enough to understand what any of it means. At first, the early posts on BrittiKitty's TikTok looked completely harmless. Lily was just a baby reacting to the world around her, and a lot of those early clips were genuinely adorable.
Do you want this?
But Brittany could see clearly that Lily had something people were drawn to. She had big, puppy eyes, long lashes, and unusual little interests that made her stand out from every other baby on the internet. So as Lily grew, Brittany started posting more and more, sometimes uploading multiple videos in a single day. Whatever she posted was pulling in millions of views. It was because Lily was authentic and her curiosity for the natural world pulled people in. She was an absolute animal lover, with no fear whatsoever when it came to stray animals and amphibians.
I love them.
Don't kiss him.
People started calling her a real-life Disney princess because she would kiss little toads and there always seemed to be butterflies flying around her.
Hey, Lily.
What?
You got something on your face.
Moths.
So as Lily grew, Brittany posted more, and the more she posted, the more the algorithm rewarded it. As a result, the account of this real-life Disney princess exploded during 2020 and 2021. But that success also changed what BrittiKitty was. What started as a mother posting cute videos of her daughter slowly turned into a full family brand, with Lily as the face of it. Her videos were pulling in millions of views. The account was growing at a ridiculous speed, and before long, the account became Brittany's primary source of income. Then as the account kept growing, the Christiana family grew with it. Brittany and Mikey welcomed their second daughter, Violet Christiana, January 3, 2023. The content had always revolved around Lily, but Violet's birth gave BrittiKitty a new chapter. From the moment she was born, she became part of the content too. At first, people loved seeing how the two sisters bonded. Yet even with Violet now appearing in videos, Lily remained the main face of the brand. And once BrittiKitty became successful, Brittany pushed the brand far beyond TikTok. Lily's videos started spreading across YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, where the same kind of clips continued pulling in huge numbers. Their YouTube channel grew to almost 4 million subscribers. Their Instagram reached up to 3.2 million followers, and their Facebook page crossed 1.3 million followers. By the mid-2020s, BrittiKitty had grown into one of the largest family accounts on TikTok, surpassing 16 million followers and getting over 900 million likes. It turned into a massive child-centered content business built around Lily's personality and her everyday life. On the surface, the explanation for BrittiKitty's success seemed simple. Parents followed this account because they related to the everyday joys of raising young children, or simply because Lily was irresistibly cute. Naturally, the algorithm rewarded anything that kept people engaged. While both these reasons were true, there was another side to this audience that made the entire situation much darker, because the same videos that looked innocent to regular viewers were also attracting a very different kind of attention, and that's exactly where the disturbing details begin. Once you look past the wholesome packaging, the whole family situation starts to feel strange very quickly. But when you actually pay attention to the account, there's a clear level of planning behind what gets posted, what gets repeated, and what gets pushed to the audience. This woman, who gets held up as some kind of gold standard of mommy content, is doing things that would not sit right with anyone who genuinely cares about children. For starters, Lily is the face of the family, and because people find her cute, Brittany documents every corner of her life and hands it to the internet on a silver platter. Whether it's her earliest videos, or her first day at school, or her first or second tooth falling out, her daily life is constantly being recorded and pushed out for millions of strangers to watch. Over time, she's essentially become an unpaid performer who's always on and always watchable, while her family continues to benefit from the attention she brings in. The money side of this is already a problem on its own, because Lily is the reason the account works, but she's still far too young to understand what it means for her life to become someone else's income. Experts like Charlotte Mull and Catalina Goent have spoken about this exact issue, pointing out that family and child influencer content becomes especially troubling when children have no real say over being filmed or shared. They also point out a clear lack of legal protection around these children's privacy and earnings, because in many cases, their daily lives are monetized without any clear safeguards for what happens to the money or the footage once it's online. That's why some places have started introducing laws to protect child influencers. In Minnesota, for example, new rules require child influencers to receive a share of the income made from their content. But with BrittiKitty, the problem does not stop at money, because once Lily's life became the product, Brittany also had to keep presenting her in a way that made people watch. And a huge part of that brand was built around Lily being this cute little girl with pigtails, dressed up as fairies and princesses, and constantly making pouty faces with unnecessary close-up zoom-ins on her face. Now, to be fair, kids wear princess dresses and kids have their favorite hairstyles. There's nothing inherently wrong with how Lily or Violet dress. The problem is that these moments are not being kept inside the family. They're being posted to a massive public audience where anyone can watch, save, download, and comment whatever they want on them.
I'm looking at me. You know what I see? I see a strong...
When parents post their kids online, most of them are selective, and they think twice about what goes out, because they understand that the internet is not only full of other parents and harmless viewers. But Brittany doesn't seem to treat that risk with anywhere near enough caution. And if you need a clearer picture of why that matters, an ex-PDF's own words explain the danger better than anything else, because according to him, that kind of dress-up only makes girls more appealing to the wrong kind of people.
Is a huge factor. If you put a girl in a sundress and French braids in front of the average file, he's going to get an erection that'll rip his bike shorts.
And the clothing is only one piece of this, because most children would never post a picture of their child with white cream splattered across their face, not because the child did anything wrong, but because they understand what kind of people exist online and how quickly something innocent can be twisted. Yet Brittany not only posted such a video, but pinned it to her profile and made it the literal packaging of her page. She's also uploaded videos of Lily and Violet licking ice cream and popsicles on camera, And the comments under posts like these are exactly why this becomes so disturbing. There are grown men openly talking about wanting to come to their house. The right response to any of this would be to feel sick, delete the accounts, and raise your children far away from it all. But Brittany does the opposite and turns it into a strategy instead. If a video performs well, she takes that as a blueprint and pumps out more of the same because the algorithm is picking it up.
Hi, Puffy. What's your name?
Trash.
Like some of Lily's most watched videos are the ones where she delivers motivational little quotes to the camera. So Brittany keeps bringing that format back.
Guess what? You're poor. I need you. I need you. I love you.
And although those videos look wholesome at first, once you really watch them, they feel heavily rehearsed, with Lily clearly being made to memorize lines and deliver them in the most dolled-up expressions. She even made Lily talk about the Ukraine war. This is a 7-year-old girl who's supposed to be growing up, forming her own thoughts, and figuring out the world in private. Instead, her mother is pushing her in front of a camera to perform for an audience on a daily basis. And once you look into the audience, the problem goes from concerning to seriously disturbing, because a significant portion of the audience consuming Lily's videos every day appears to be grown adults with deeply disturbing feeds.
If you do not have a good day after seeing that, you might as well go back to bed, because that is triple scoop, flippin' dippin', adorable. Oh.
And the number of saves on Lily's posts is shocking, because no normal adult should be going out of their way to save videos of a child they don't know. And yet, there are middle-aged men openly admitting that they have downloaded her content. Over time, her audience has become obsessed with her, and they mention wanting her to post every single day because it lights up their world. There are literally fan edits of Lily being people's personal idol. And that's not normal for a child her age, because frankly, who has a toddler as their idol? And the obsession got so out of hand that when BrittiKitty's account once got disabled for a community violation on TikTok, most people never noticed that until middle-aged men decided to speak up. Some of these accounts have never posted, but as soon as a little girl's account was disabled, they decided it was the right time to save the world. Even if none of them are saying something explicitly harmful, it's still deeply wrong for grown adults to obsess over a child influencer this way, especially one whose own mother does not have the basic instinct to shield her from any of it and posts whatever she wants. And if these adults genuinely feel the need to make a video about anything, it should not be about reinstating her account, but about getting it taken down permanently so Lily can actually grow up safe. Kids are cute, but when a grown man gets upset when he can't see the kids' videos anymore, that's creepy. But is the mother the only one to blame here? Because Mikey is no less of a reckless father. Not only is he standing by and letting Brittany exploit his children, but he's also actively contributing to it himself. For instance, there's the video of Mikey where he's asking Lily to call him Dada. In a normal family setting, that's obviously a sweet moment between a father and his daughter. But once that moment is uploaded to a public platform, it stops being private. It becomes content that anyone can watch, save, and interpret however they want. And knowing that there are child predators out there who have fetishes for exactly those kinds of words and childlike moments, it is seriously inappropriate to put that kind of content out on public platforms where PDFs can access it. And it gets even worse when you look beyond the comments and realize there's a whole article written about this reel alone. We looked into their account stats and found out through Hype Auditor that about 50% of their audience is male. To put that into perspective, even Kylie Jenner only has 38% male followers on her Instagram despite her bold and provocative photos. But a family account centered around little girls somehow has half its entire audience made up of men, and that too when none of the children on the account are a boy. And if you try to keep an open mind and say this is only happening because the girls are cute, that explanation starts to fall apart pretty quickly. Because when you think about child influencers who become this recognizable online, the names that usually come to mind are not little boys. They're young girls whose faces, outfits, reactions, and family moments get pushed across every platform until strangers start treating them like characters they personally know. That raises an extremely uncomfortable question. Is the algorithm simply pushing these female child influencers because their videos perform well? Or is a certain kind of audience actively engaging with this content until the algorithm has no choice but to keep feeding it back to them? Whatever the answer is, the result is the same. Lily and Violet are being exposed to an audience that should make any responsible parent seriously uncomfortable.
Are you looking for a son-in-law to be? Hear me out.
And it's not that every single person following them is a bad person. Most of them would definitely be decent people like you guys who wish blessings on these children. But the real question is whether you would ever download her videos and store them in folders on your phone. Obviously not. But the problem has never been the harmless viewers. The problem is this segment of the audience that develops an unhealthy fixation on these children and starts treating them as a personal source of comfort, entertainment, or emotional attachment. There are more than 900 million likes sitting across these posts, and while that number alone shows how huge the account has become, the comments under these videos show the level of fixation some viewers have reached with these two girls. I can watch Violet's actions whole day. She fell so beautiful. She did like a split. Once again, these comments don't represent the entire audience, but when the same kind of remarks keep appearing across different videos, sometimes from the same users, it becomes impossible to dismiss them as a few random weirdos passing through. You are my world, Lily. I want to meet her. Because once Violet became old enough to appear more often, BrittiKitty started facing a very obvious problem. A big part of the formula that made Lily famous was built around her being unusually calm around animals, insects, frogs, and other things most kids would be scared of. However, Violet is the total opposite. She is genuinely scared of animals.
It's a frog.
Any normal mother would instinctively try to protect her child from the things that frighten her. But Brittany knows that people fell in love with Lily precisely because she was this fearless little Disney princess who kissed wild animals. So if Violet can be molded into another version of Lily, that would double down on the audience and the income that comes with it. And in that pursuit, she makes Violet face her worst fears head on. There's a video where Violet is clearly saying she does not like frogs, and instead of keeping her away from them, Brittany and Lily prank her with one anyway.
Oh God.
And the look on Violet's face in that moment is absolutely chilling. She's a 3-year-old child who should be spending her time discovering what she actually likes. She should not be performing for an audience and nearly having a heart attack because of a prank that no one her age should be put through. And sadly, the frogs are not even the end of it. Violet has been conditioned so thoroughly that she's slowly being turned into a forced animal lover. A kid who never liked butterflies or frogs is now being filmed carrying snakes and butterflies around like it's the most natural thing in the world.
Yeah, it is a ball, but I'm holding a bunny.
All because Brittany wants Violet to be Lily so badly that she has completely stripped her younger daughter of her own individuality. And when children grow up having been raised this way, they don't just face a personality crisis on their own. They also end up facing competition from their own siblings.
But when parents start to compare unintentionally, they start planting the seed of insecurity and resentment.
It is the worst feeling to be the dumber one, the less successful one, or the less popular one.
And since Lily is the one who brings in most of the audience, people think she's the favorite child because Brittany posts her more often than she posts Violet. Brittany has already set these two sisters up to compete in a way that could seriously damage their relationship as adults. Lily might one day feel like Violet is copying her, and Violet would not even know how to respond to that because she was never given the space to figure out who she actually was as a child. She was only ever allowed to exist as a side character in Lily's story while Lily got to be the Disney princess. In fact, Violet seems much more reserved and does not even appear to enjoy being out in public.
Ah! I'll go home. I want to go back home, Mama.
Where do you want to go?
I want to go in my house. I want to go home now.
Her mother knows that and chooses to put her on social media anyway, sometimes in the most vulnerable situations imaginable. Violet is still far too young to understand what it means for these videos to live online. She cannot meaningfully agree to being posted. She cannot understand who's watching, and she definitely cannot understand how many strangers are building opinions about her before she has even had a chance to figure herself out. But her parents' disregard for her comfort doesn't stop here. Usually kids are afraid of animals and anything horror-related, but when Brittany saw that Lily's strange and fearless personality was pulling in fans, she decided it was time to push things even further into this niche.
That's so cute.
She then started framing her daughters as these fearless little creatures who are not scared of anything, not even ghosts or horror themes. So now her kids are dressing up as clowns and ghosts on camera, and it's attracting a mind-blowing audience because that was the plan. All of these stunts are not only forced, but genuinely unsettling for children to be put through, because these little girls are being made to role play as motivational speakers, Disney princesses, and creepy clowns all at once, just to appear cute and different enough to keep the audience coming. And once you notice how often Lily and Violet are pushed into these manufactured moments, Britney's prank content starts to look even worse. She did a video where she told her 4-year-old that her baby sister was going to leave and go to a new family. That is mental and emotional. But people thought it was cute. For instance, there was a video where she told Lily that Violet was being taken away from their home to go live somewhere else. Since Lily is clearly a sentimental and emotionally attached kid, she was absolutely wrecked. And even if you wanted to give that particular prank the benefit of the doubt, there are enough other videos on the account that make her wholesome image much harder to believe. There have been claims from people in her own neighborhood that she's not this sweet mom, and that her daughters are actually scared of her at home. Of course, claims like that should be treated carefully, but they do become harder to ignore when the public videos already show a pattern of questionable judgment around her children. There was one incident where she set tissue paper ghost decorations on fire indoors and let them float up to the ceiling in smoke. She also set off a firecracker inside a piece of fruit and ignited it inside the house, which is the kind of stunt that has no business happening around small children, no matter how many views it might get. She even posted a video where she called newborn Lily ugly and framed it as a glow-up moment. And when people called her out for it in the comments, she disabled the comments rather than deleting the post or offering any kind of apology, which is exactly what she does every single time she gets called out for anything. Like when Britney posted a gymnastics video featuring Lily. It was actually the kind of video that makes you stop and pay attention to the details, because she blurred every other child in that video except her own daughter. That alone tells you everything you need to know, because it means she's fully aware of the rules about posting children online. She knows other parents have not agreed to have their kids on her platform, so she blurs them out except for when it comes to her own daughter, because Lily has to remain visible for the content to work. One person chose to call her out for exactly that video in the comments. Crazy that you know how to censor other children who do not consent to their videos on the internet, but with your own child that does not consent, you blast publicity and profit off of. But they got blocked as soon as that comment started gaining attention. And if you're starting to think that all of this is being complicated or exaggerated, then you have to see this. There was once a PDF site where a PDF was uploading pictures from a gymnastics school's website onto one of these forums. All of those were pictures of little girls wearing leotards, and they were posted in non-categories. And that's not even an isolated incident, because there were also the Pinterest scandals, where middle-aged men were creating entire dedicated boards filled with pictures of little girls and teenagers wearing swimsuits. Cases like these are why child safety experts and concerned parents warn against publicly posting children in leotards, swimsuits, cheer uniforms, or anything similar. The issue is not that the clothing itself is wrong. The issue is that predators have repeatedly shown exactly how they collect, save, and repurpose those images. Sadly, none of it seems to concern Britney as she continues to post. It's 2026, and we're living in an age where danger is no longer limited to creeps saving screenshots or leaving comments. Children's photos can now be stolen, edited, manipulated, and turned into something horrifying with basic AI tools. Anyone with access to basic AI tools can take a child's image and use it to create whatever they want. And according to the Internet Watch Foundation, 245 reports containing AI-generated child essay imagery were submitted in 2024 alone. It was a 380% increase from the 51 reports that were recorded just the year before in 2023. And in a world that's become this unsafe, parents like Britney are continuing to push out content that's actively becoming a source of material for these predators. An ethical hacker, Ryan Montgomery, has exposed multiple online predator networks where children's photos were being stolen and used to create AI-generated PDF material.
Groups with 30, 40,000 users in them that are using other people's children with AI and putting them in vulnerable, horrible positions. And it's like, I don't want to be the guy going on social media saying, hey, don't post your child that you're so proud of.
And there's also a German documentary titled A Message from Ella that broke the internet for exactly the same reason. In this documentary, Ella's AI-generated adult version was used to show just how serious and how real this threat has become. At the time, some parents may not realize when old men are on their children online. But when those kids eventually grow up and discover what was done with their images, it becomes deeply traumatic for them.
And I certainly don't want this.
And predators are not the only danger either. The internet can turn one awkward expression or one strange childhood moment into a meme that follows someone for years. A child can be laughed at by millions before they're even old enough to understand why people know their face.
I don't want to become a meme, humiliated by everyone at school.
At some point, influencers like Brittany need to stop pretending this is just innocent family content and seriously reconsider what they're putting online. Because case after case has shown what can happen when children's images are made public, and somehow BrittiKitty keeps doing the exact things those cases warned parents not to do. Moreover, when parents turn their children into content this early, they're not just exposing them to dangerous people online, they're also teaching them to understand themselves through whatever version of their personality performs best. And we've already seen the unsettling places that road can lead. Ryan's World is one of the most talked about cases in this regard, because Ryan began as a very young kid unboxing toys and making playful content that quickly snowballed into a global brand with massive reach. And today he's 14 years old, but he doesn't really engage in teenage activities like other teenagers. Instead, he's still posting the same childish content, playing with Labubu's and unboxing squishies. Psychologist Erik Erikson's theory of identity versus role confusion helps explain this kind of identity crisis.
Children and citizens. Many experience an identity crisis. If our parents now allow us to go out and explore, we can find identity. If they push us to conform to their views, we can face role confusion and feel lost.
And Ryan cannot really be blamed for ending up in that situation, because his parents made him the primary source of their income, and he was constantly being directed to produce content for his fans without ever being given the space to grow beyond it. His fans grew up, but Ryan never did, and he became irrelevant because children his age naturally started exploring the world outside of toys, while people handling the channel never allowed him to do the same. And even after that downfall became obvious, his parents went ahead and produced a $10 million movie that flopped spectacularly because they had no idea who Ryan was outside of the character they had built around him. Right now, Ryan seems stuck with an identity that was created for him when he was too young to understand what it would eventually become. That poor boy, spending his whole childhood on camera, and he's already too old for toy unwrapping videos. He stopped being cute and little many years ago, and I'm sure he'd rather go play with his friends than shoot videos. What Brittany is doing to Lily and Violet is no different, because when a child like Lily becomes the central character at such a young age, her entire sense of self-worth becomes tied to one very specific version of herself that the internet decided it liked. But when a child grows up being treated like the center of every room online, real life can become much harder to handle, because real people don't react like fans in a comment section. And according to people from the family's own community, that may already be starting to show. I've never seen the family around town, IRL, but know someone who works at the school her oldest daughter goes to. They said the daughter has serious behavioral and social issues, all stemming from not being able to be the center of attention while at school. Apparently, mom doesn't take the news of her daughter not being perfect very well when approached by school staff. She's supposedly a pretty scary lady. The family's doing a serious disservice to the kids, and rumor has it, people in town who have met the mom don't have nice things to say about her. Apparently, she works at a fancy prep school a few towns away. That says a lot, because Lily's entire online identity depends on people being fascinated by her. But school is not TikTok. Her classmates are not an audience, and they're not there to treat her like a celebrity just because millions of strangers online do. And just like Ryan's parents, Brittany also seems to believe her child is not ordinary. The difference is that Brittany does not treat that like something to handle carefully, she turns it into the brand. She presents Lily as this almost otherworldly child, like she's more special, more mature, and more naturally different than everyone else's kids. One of the things she brings up as proof of this is that Lily has never thrown temper tantrums, and she presents it like this is something to be proud of and admired. But temper tantrums are actually an important part of a child's emotional development, because they're one of the ways kids release frustration and confusion before they learn how to regulate those feelings properly. So when a child is constantly being praised for never showing those emotions, that's not automatically impressive. It can be genuinely concerning. It's not something to brag about, and people have called this out multiple times by pointing out that Lily could develop a serious good girl syndrome if she keeps suppressing those emotions without ever being given a safe outlet for them. Part of the problem is that Brittany keeps presenting these warning signs as proof that Lily is special, while ignoring the risks that should actually matter. For example, although the actual post may have been deleted by now, both Brittany and Mikey are also anti-MMR vaccine, which is almost darkly ironic when you think about it, because these are two parents who are not the least bit concerned about their children's entire lives being played out in front of a predatory audience, yet they draw the line at vaccines. And then there's the matter of how much real-world information Brittany keeps attaching to the account. Their neighbors have openly raised concerns about the fact that she has a P.O. box set up for her child. Now, a P.O. box is not the exact address of their house, but it still ties the account to a specific local area where people have already spotted the family at events and where the children attend school. And it's not hard to imagine how even small location clues can become dangerous for a child who's already obsessed over by so many creeps online. And that lack of boundaries does not only show up in the way Lily and Violet are treated on camera, it also shows up in the real-world details Brittany keeps allowing into the content. To make matters worse, Brittany has posted so many reels where Lily's school is clearly visible in the background, which should never happen to a child with a combined following of over 20 million people across platforms, because all it takes is one determined person pausing videos, comparing locations, and slowly piecing together where she lives, where she goes to school, and what her daily routine looks like. All of this just goes to show how little Brittany and Mikey seem to have thought through the real-world consequences of building this entire brand around their daughters' lives. For now, Brittany and Mikey show no real sign of slowing down, no matter how many red flags pile up around this account. BrittiKitty is still growing. The content is still being pushed out while Lily and Violet are still too young to understand the machine they've been placed inside. But one day, these girls are going to grow up and realize that millions of strangers watched and judged years of their childhood before they were old enough to understand what any of it meant. And if nothing changes, there's a real chance they'll carry that into the real world, where life is never as polished or perfectly scripted as the TikTok version their parents built around them.